Robert McCall quietly enjoys his book as he rides a train on the outskirts of Turkey. He strolls into the train's bar car. He sidles up to a Turkish guy, starts a conversation, and drinks with him. This man has kidnapped his own daughter just to annoy his ex-wife, who is an American. As the tension brews over drinks, he realizes McCall means business. Cue the dramatic order to his lackeys to handle the situation. With trademark nonchalance, McCall takes a quick survey of the room, sets his trusty timer, because every good hero needs a countdown, and promptly turns the brawl into a buffet of punches, smashes, stabs, and neck snaps. He practically turns the bar car into a crime scene, leaving the goons seeing stars. McCall offers the villain a chance to take the easy way out, because even when facing off against bad guys, McCall keeps it classy. In Boston, Grace rushes into her lawyer's office, her eyes with tears as she finds her daughter waiting. She embraces the little girl tightly, overwhelmed with emotion. Meanwhile, McCall has taken up a gig as a Lyft driver, ferrying passengers around the city. His most regular rider is Sam Rubenstein, an elderly man on a quest to find his long-lost sister. McCall navigates the streets, not just driving, but also keenly observing his passengers' lives unfold. One fateful night, McCall picks up a distressed young woman who has been assaulted while intoxicated. Showing compassion, he drives her straight to the hospital and then confronts her attackers at their apartment. After dispensing some sage advice on doing the right thing, McCall faces off against the gang's leader, who foolishly tries to throw a punch. McCall swiftly turns the tables, using the guy's own card to cut him before breaking bones and leaving them sprawled on the floor. He asks the last guy to call the police and confess their crime and suggests giving a 5-star rating, because even vigilantes appreciate good feedback.
I expect a 5-star rating, you understand?
In the next scene, in Brussels, Mr. Calbert comes home to find his wife seated in the dining, badly beaten and crying. 3 men, Resnick, Ari, and Kovac come out and shoot the wife in the head. As the man stands shocked and frozen, they force him to sit down and Resnick forces a gun into his mouth and pulls the trigger, making it look like a murder-suicide. McCall visits the bookstore to pick up a new book he ordered, where he unexpectedly encounters Grace working as a clerk. Her daughter recognizes McCall, but Grace remains unaware of his past heroics. Later at home, McCall finds Susan Plummer already there, and they enjoy a warm dinner together. Susan remembers it's the birthday of McCall's late wife, Vivian, and gently encourages him to socialize more. In his neighborhood, McCall discovers that his neighbor Fatima's garden has been vandalized with graffiti. He begins cleaning it up when Miles Whitaker, a young aspiring artist who often interacts with McCall, offers his help for a fee. Meanwhile, Susan discusses a case with her colleague Dave York, involving the murder-suicide of the Calberts. Their investigation leads them to Belgium, where Susan, returning to her hotel room, is ambushed by 2 thugs demanding money. Despite their attack, Susan puts up a fierce resistance and manages to fend them off, narrowly avoiding a dangerous confrontation in her bedroom. Miles is deep in painting when McCall's phone interrupts with news from Susan's husband, Brian, revealing Susan's tragic murder. McCall swiftly travels to Washington, D.C. for her funeral and immediately begins his investigation. He meticulously reviews hotel surveillance footage and scrutinizes crime scene photographs to uncover clues about Susan's untimely death. Meanwhile, the thugs responsible for attacking Susan find themselves startled by a ringing phone that isn't theirs. Upon answering, their radio explodes, fatally ending their criminal endeavors. Outside, Resnick and his gang observe, having swiftly dealt with the loose ends. During his investigation, McCall locates Dave, who had previously thought McCall was no longer alive. Together, they piece together the puzzle surrounding the thugs' demise and speculate that Susan's murder could be linked to the Calbert murders, raising suspicions of a deeper conspiracy at play. McCall watches as Miles joins 2 local gangsters and follows them discreetly to their apartment. Taking swift action, he incapacitates their guards and seizes their weapons, coercing Miles to return with him. Initially, Miles had sought their help for vengeance against the thugs who murdered his brother, but McCall intervenes, firmly asserting they are not the right company for Miles.
You got a choice, you got talent, you got a chance, and I want to hear about your environment, what your mama didn't give you and the white man won't give you no shot. You got a chance. Use it while you're still alive. You don't know what death is. You have no idea what death is.
While working as a Lyft driver, McCall picks up a passenger claiming to be headed to Logan International Airport. McCall's instincts kick in, and he deliberately takes an alternate route. When confronted, the passenger turns violent, attempting to stab McCall. A furious struggle ensues in the moving vehicle, delivering precise elbow strikes. The situation escalates when the assailant tries to shoot McCall, prompting McCall to disarm him and retaliate in self-defense, ultimately neutralizing the threat. He takes the assassin's phone and finds coded information on it before he burns the car with the man's body inside. McCall arrives at Dave's home, where he meets Dave's wife and their 2 daughters. After they leave the room, Dave confesses that after his unit, who were all with McCall in the CIA, was disbanded by the government, he and the rest of the members of his team became killers for hire. He confirms that he killed Susan because she would have figured out that he was behind the Brussels killings. Robert leaves the house and confronts Dave's teammates, Kovac, Ari, and Resnick. Before departing, he promises to kill them all to avenge Susan's death, and his only regret is that he can only kill them once.
The mistake you made was you killed my friend. I'm going to kill each and every one of you, and the only disappointment in it for me is that I only get to do it once.
Later, McCall asks Dave's wife for a ride, almost taunting him with the closeness of his enemies. Fearing for Brian's safety as a potential loose end, McCall swiftly whisks him away to a secure location, shielding him from the escalating danger. Meanwhile, at McCall's apartment, Miles innocently paints a wall when Dave and Kovac forcefully attempt to break in. In a desperate phone call, McCall instructs Miles to find a hidden spot behind a bookshelf. However, as tension mounts, Miles begins to panic in the claustrophobic space. McCall makes a call to Dave to lure him away. Miles comes out from hiding thinking it's safe, only for Dave and Kovac to kidnap him as they are still waiting for him outside. McCall returns to his evacuated seaside hometown amidst a raging hurricane. As they reach there, Kovac, Ari, and Resnick scour the town amidst howling winds and pelting rain, unaware of McCall's stealthy approach. High above on the watchtower, Dave waits for an opportunity to snipe. Kovac goes into a shop where he thinks he spots McCall, only for McCall to shoot a harpoon through his head. Ari then goes after him, but McCall catches him first and slices up his whole body, which would put a butcher to shame. Resnick follows McCall through another shop, and he gets blown up by a grenade, causing his stomach to burst open. Dave reveals that he has Miles bound and gagged with duct tape in the trunk of his car. In a bid to draw Robert out, he fires several shots at the trunk. Accusing Robert of failing to save Susan, Dave continues to taunt him with each shot. As Dave prepares to take his final shot, McCall intervenes by shooting the car's tire, causing Dave to miss his mark. McCall then confronts Dave on top of the tower for a face-off. Dave tries to stab McCall, but McCall is too fast for him. He gouges Dave's eye out before grabbing his knife and stabbing him. He then slices Dave from all angles before throwing him off the tower into the sea. McCall rushes to free Miles and discovers that he has been shot in the leg. He takes the injured boy to his house, where he treats the wound and waits for the storm to pass. As Miles recovers, he notices pictures of McCall as a soldier and sees photos with Vivian. Back at home, Fatima discovers her garden has been restored, and a mural has been painted on the wall by Miles, depicting scenes from her old country. On the opposite wall, it says, "I leave you with the best of myself." Meanwhile, Miles is seen on a bus, chatting with a girl from his school who admires a drawing he's making, inspired by McCall. Sam is reunited with his sister, Magda, after McCall pulls a few strings to bring them together. In the final scene, McCall stands outside his old house, gazing out at the ocean.